Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual, Jamal Forge. I'm in here with Dre. AJ is on the way. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you're on the YouTube side of things. We always appreciate that. Twitch, Twitter, what's up? Appreciate y'all checking in. As always, shout out to all the trappers, man. I gotta keep giving y'all shout outs, man. Subscribers to or the members of the channel. You know, y'all can always become members. It's a nominal fee, but you know, so you can show your support that way as well on the YouTube side. And we definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Amani, Hawk, Al 2, who I ain't seen in 1,000 years. Audio side, we definitely appreciate y'all checking in as well, man. Make sure you hit that follow button if you are brand new to the show. Hit us with a rating review if you can, as well. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show your support that away. Dre, what's up with you, player? How you feeling?
Good, man. I'm actually getting back into football mode, bro. You know, I had to decompress. The Wizards actually been doing some good things, you know what I'm saying? Been paying attention to them. Trey Young plays on Thursday, but that's beside the fact. Yeah, but you know, we got free agency coming up. And it actually dawned on me the other day because I've been so in basketball mode that I was like, damn, free agency actually starts next week. So this is cool for me, Mual, because this is new for me, actually, because it's like normally Wizards is so bad, I don't give a damn. I'm on, you know, still looking at what we're doing every day. But this time I took a step back. I said, I'm going to take a step back from the team. And it feels good because now it feels like things are going by fast. Normally this time of year goes by slow. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah. I know they play Utah on Thursday, right?
Yeah, I think they do play the Jazz, which is the tank battle. We're gonna win.
Yeah, so like I ain't gonna lie, I'll probably find out what Monumental, what time I need to tune into Monumental to watch them play. I mean, why not, bro? Why not?
It's funny because it's gonna be so funny to watch you get into Wizards mode. I've only ever known you in Commanders mode. I've never seen you in Wizards mode.
Yeah, trust me, my it's crazy. Like Gilbert Arena years, I ain't had to worry about. Like I was always logged in. And then like I remember the stretch. It was like 2014 to like 2018 or 2019 is when I was super locked into the Wizards again. So like it was like a down period where I really didn't, in between Arenas era and John Wall era, it was a period where I didn't didn't really follow with them either. But when they had the trio, Gilbert, Jameson, and Karan, I was in it.
those was my years, bro.
Yeah. I remember waking up. It was too late for me. But I remember waking up the next morning seeing or hearing Gilbert drop that 60 burger on LA or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was on the road. So
yes,
yeah, I was say, and I woke up. I was like, bro, he did that. I was like, Gilbert. Like, not that he couldn't do it, but I was like, bro, he was cooking like that. Like on our home, he put up 60.
No, I knew Gilbert could do it because I watched him way back in Arizona. And you know what makes me feel old?
He was probably like 30
back
when he was in Arizona.
Man, I was 18. I was somewhere around there. You know, I was about his age. But you know what makes me feel so old, bro? Like when I sit here and watch LeBron James, I actually watched LeBron James live in high school. I seen LeBron James play live. Went to one of his high school games, so that makes me feel old. Yeah.
I ain't even had to chat. I ain't even had to say nothing. He just told on himself.
Hey, me and LeBron the same age, y'all. LeBron, he's young. He's still playing. Me and LeBron are the same age.
Where was I at? Oh yeah, I mean, I get it though, because but a lot of things have happened today. That I don't know how much time we'll have to talk about it. Ben Standig is scheduled to join us on the second half of the show. So we'll be talking to him a lot. We do have a mock all season that we have to get into. And it's probably best we do it now. Because Ben is probably going to take up a good portion of the second half, which is good. We can chop it up with him and figure out some things from what he learned from the combine, his thoughts on how Washington may make some moves in free agency and prioritize the draft or prioritize pick 7. I did see somebody, who was it? Sega mentioned Kenyon Sadiq at 7. A lot of people had good pro day. Good pro day. Sorry. A lot of people had good combines. So that is definitely a name that's probably not going to be there at 7, but also there is a name that we're going to talk about with Ben that a lot of people are either like super sold on or change their tune on. If you catch my drift. Who want to do their mock off season first? AJ just joined. For those that's listening on the audio side, AJ just joined us. We do have mock free agencies. And granted, I was looking at ours again, and the reason why I waited as late as possible to send mine is because so many things have changed since we all initially did it. And Dre, you did have some who were either, I think, tagged or probably tagged. And I don't remember AJ's. I have to double check. But like, who?
You don't have it to put up on the screen?
Yeah, I can. But I can read at the same time. So that's kind of.
Oh god.
And before I talk, I want to make sure. I know Breece Hall got tagged. That's who I had on my list. Did anybody else on my list?
Let me check.
Yeah, because I wanted before I even go into them. I already know about Breece Hall.
Where is yours at?
Yeah, I got it. I had somebody got tagged.
And Chris Paul's going to free agency.
That's
so that's one of yours. I think that's it. Jake Moody, he's in free agency. Yeah, but the main thing was Breece Hall. Everybody else, I think you're safe. I mean, if you got a replacement, I got replacements too. But yeah,
I got a replacement for Breece Hall.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and I think we'll be good. AJ, I'm gonna check yours too. How do I get out of this shit, bro? I mean, looking at your. I shouldn't have said that shit to Twitter. Who wants to go? Who wants to go? Go first.
I think Dre said he was going first.
Okay. I didn't say it, but I can.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was just talking about him. All right, so let's go ahead and bring Dre's up for the chat. This is our mock off season pre-draft. So there are no draft picks involved. This is straight offseason re-signings and free agency signings as well. Free agency acquisitions. Let's go ahead and bring which one is his. Boom. And share the screen. All right. Here we go. Oh, Lord, it's going to show my... Damn. Just realized I'm going to show all the messages. All right, bro. Fuck it. How do I
expose yourself?
Yeah, that's a little crazy. I didn't think about that. Maybe this will work. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, let me double check now. Yeah. All right, bet. Yeah. Now I just got to move this. All right, Dre, you got the floor. I'm going to remove this so we are good to go.
Yeah, man. So first, we can start with the re-signings because, I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious. We got a lot of free agents to re-sign, but the ones that jumped out to me, of course, Mariota. If you could bring Mariota back, I mean, Mariota is as solid of a backup in the league. I mean, you know, it was self-explanatory. Maybe the best backup in the league the last couple of years. Age-wise, I mean, you still need depth there. It wouldn't hurt to bring Jake Martin back. I mean, Jake Martin, he was pretty damn solid. You just don't want Jake Martin starting like he was, or you don't want him to be your every down rusher. You want him to be situational, rotational type of guy. I mean, he's perfectly fine in that role. Drake Jackson, and I had him more so because we didn't see enough of him, and I'm intrigued about what he maybe can do with a full offseason with the team. And he's still young. I mean, he was one of those guys at San Francisco with Adam Peters. Bring him back. Treylon Burks, self-explanatory. I thought he looked good this limited time. I mean, obviously not saying anywhere near the starters. I mean, most of the guys I'm talking about on my re-sign list, def guys. Like we need def guys, you know.
And I was going to add, just not to cut you off, but I was going to add, I'm glad you said that. Like, what's our theme? Like, what was our mentality when we made our off-season I see wish list or off-season wish list. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, so like I said, my re-sign, all of my re-signings really were def guys, except for Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul's obviously a starter. He was the big piece for me, like a no-brainer. I mean, and I still hope they can get something done because I mean, you do have depth there, Brandon Coleman, but Chris Paul, I think he earned himself a deal, and he should be back. Hopefully, you bring him back, and then you round it out with a Chris Rodriguez. I mean, again, depth piece, fourth, third back, whatever. Keep him on the roster. Jake Moody, and I did put a feat there. That's only if he was having competition. That's it. I mean, for me, it wasn't him coming back as a bona fide starter. It was more so him being here with competition, but obviously we heard the news that he won't be back, which is fine. That's fine. If you can find the kicker position, solve that. And my last re-signer will be Noah Igbenogany, depth piece. Again, I mean, you could do worse at fifth corner, fifth or fourth corner.
I got a thought about Jake Moody though. Not about you though. Like, I'm surprised that so many people were like unquestionably okay with the decision to let him test free agency. I understand, man. He ain't make no kicks, or I think like one kick was beyond 50 yards with Washington, right? And I understand like the question that surrounds his leg. Sometimes I always feel like certain positions you got to see some things through. Like, Jake Moody has a history, sure, but what has he done with you? And like, I'm surprised that people seen what Jake Moody did here in Washington and was like, yeah, we can do better. I agree in the grand scheme of things, but when you got a kicker who showed up for you, I'm like, all right, well, how about signing him and bringing in competition? Like, they chose to let him go in the market. That's not to say he won't come back, but I was just surprised.
Right. And Maul, that's where I was with Jake Moody. For me, Washington hasn't been the stable place for kickers, and I thought he was pretty solid. I mean, he wasn't asked to do a lot. Like, he wasn't asked to go out there and kick a bunch of 60-yarders or long 50-yarders. But for what he was asked to do, he was pretty consistent in what he did. For you to say you could do much better, we haven't seen much better here, but I thought he did enough to at least say, he can be in a kicker competition. But again, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I did think he was a little bit better than some of the fan base thought he was here. But that's my list. Yes, free agents. Brees Hall, I had him up there, as you all can see, but he's been tagged, so we pivot. And good thing it is a couple of good backs in this free agency class. And for me, I would go either Ken Walker or Travis Etienne. I mean, especially when you hear the news, you're talking about possibly looking at a Ben Johnson style offense, and we've seen with what's his name, DeAndre Swift. He did up there, and the other back they had from Rutgers, Monangai, up there in Chicago. Those guys, man, they pretty much carried that offense for a lot of games for Chicago. And if you're going to be a talented offense, not just relying on the Jaden Daniels, you need a back. I mean, whether that's going to be in the draft, I know a lot of you all like Jeremiah Love, but if you can address it before then, this is what I would do: Ken Walker or Etienne. Edge, self-explanatory. You need an edge, and I do think Oweh. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name, but Oweh. He's a solid edge, man.
Dafe.
Yeah, Dafe Oweh, and I think he would be a pretty solid signing for Washington. He would probably be your best edge rusher coming in day one here for Washington, and there's not many ways you can address this team in the draft. So free agency, that would be a good pickup in my opinion. And I went a different direction for the wide receiver. You know, obviously everyone's looking at Brandon Ayuk. I went to the other San Francisco receiver that's going to be a free agent, and he's been productive. And he actually took the job. He actually started taking some of Brandon Ayuk's reps before he got hurt last year, and I thought he looked pretty solid. Adam Peters knows him. That'll be a good, compliment to Terry McLaurin. Obviously, we got to address the safety position, man. We don't know if Will Harris can stay healthy for a season. He was decent, but then Quan Martin was just kind of tragic last year. So Jason Thompson, I think he's a solid safety. He played in that Jonathan Gannon defense, physical. He had a really good – he's been having a pretty solid career, and that's somebody I would add in the backfield. Rounding out for me, Isaiah Likely, that's the obvious one. Every Washington fan loves him. Every Washington fan, I think, is hoping for, a tight end like him, because you just can't trust who's in that room right now. And I do think Isaiah Likely would be a big add in there receiver-wise. He would be a good target for Jaden Daniels. And he needs a security blanket. And my last two, Jalen Watson. I actually heard news from him today that Washington may kind of be looking in the corner market, and he may be one of those guys. But he's young. He's been very damn productive with the Chiefs. That's someone I would love to sign here in Washington. And my last one is your Bobby Wagner replacement, Quay Walker. I think he would bring speed to that linebacker room, and he would be exactly what you need to kind of transition away from a Bobby Wagner.
All right. Let's get the AJs in chat. By the way, y'all can let us know where y'all thinking. Like I see JB mentioned Aaron Jones. Sega, I see you talking about you're all in on running backs. Big Pimpin said Rashad White. Y'all let us know if y'all agree with the position and player. If not, like who at the position would you take? And also, we all about competition over here. So if you feel somebody had a better wish list, you tell us who you think that is right now. As we keep pushing through these things, we're gonna go ahead and get the floor to AJ. AJ has his coming up. Let me move.
And chat, while Maul's doing that, I want to let you all know that Maul and AJ, they had an argument about their wish lists, especially the quarterback position. So let them know who got the better quarterback for re-signing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get this going. AJ, you got the floor right now. All right.
Yeah, just got to remember my wish list. I believe that I put this out on social media back in.
It's on the screen. You can't see it?
Yeah, no, I could see it a little bit.
Okay, all right.
What I'm saying is I made this list probably while the playoffs were still going on, essentially, or right before it ended.
Whole month ago.
Just to give my preference. So as we already know, let's get this out there. Kyle Pitts was tagged. Cool. Yeah. But that's why on my list, I expected to get 2 tight ends. And so I'll start from the beginning. Resign.
Don't forget Debo, he gone too.
Yeah. Nah, just chill out.
Bro.
Like, but now David Blau being, the new OC, I feel like Debo fits within that offense. And I think one thing that we got to be mindful of, Washington doesn't have a lot of picks. So it's not like they can go into the draft thinking like, hey, we can get this guy and see how it works out at wide receiver, running back, linebacker, cornerback. Like they don't have an assortment of picks. And they also have a lot of people that they got to sign to make up their roster. I think it's like they got like 33 plus free agents. So you got to spend some of that money, you got to get to a certain point. And I think that when you look at the overall class of wide receivers in particular, Debo Samuel is someone that they should still consider due to the familiarity that they have with him. Um, he has with the quarterback, Blau, all those things, and he could do essentially what is needed out of that position. And when I say bring back Debo, I'm not saying to bring back him to be a number one or a number two. Thinking this day of football, like you need three wide receivers to be a solid offense. Um, so that's my thought process on Debo Samuel. Bobby Wagner, bring him back. We kind of see the writings on the wall with him coming back anyways. As he says that he wants to return for what is it, his 17th or 16th season. Um, is more than likely not going to be to go to a new situation. So he's going to be back with Washington. Traylon Burks, I think that's someone that has first round talent. I think that you need to continue to see what you can get out of him. Let him have a full off season within the regiment, from the workouts to mini camp to OTAs, all those things, and see what you can get out of him. He's someone that went a couple picks after Jahan Dotson in that draft class. So he definitely has some talent. You can see what maybe you might hit on something there. Chris Paul, I feel like he did a damn good job at left guard when there was questions after Brandon Coleman suffered an injury, and obviously Brandon Coleman wasn't able to get that job back. Chris Paul did an amazing job. I think he sat on the roster for a very long time under Ron Rivera. But you seen what had him being a draftable guy at that position. Von Miller, think he's someone that could still be impactful off the edge, especially in this type of scheme, because it's more so based off the nuances of getting to the quarterback, not necessarily like speed. It's just hand placement, bend around the corner. I think he'd still be formidable as a depth piece, a situational pass rusher. Now, get into the free agency wish list. And yeah, some of you guys are saying trash. Well, look yourself in the mirror. That's exactly what you are. Uh, so at running back, I got Kenneth Walker. I think with this ideology of it being similar to the Detroit Lions offense that they ran and what Ben Johnson still runs in Chicago, the most important position within that offense to really make it thrive is the running back position. I don't think that Washington can sit around and hope and pray that Jeremiah Love falls into their lap at 7 as a possibility. When you look at the teams ahead of Washington in the draft, they all really have a need at running back, whether it be the Browns in a sense, because Quinshon Judkins got hurt. Giants, Cam Scatterboo, he was never drafted to be number one running back for that team. They could use a running back. Jets could still use a running back. I mean, of course, they just tag Brees Hall, but still, all the teams that are in front of Washington need a running back. And if Jeremiah is what we view him to be, what media pundits view him to be, he will not be there at 7. And you need to attack that position way before you get into free agency. Um, I already talked about Kyle Pitts. Now, the other tight end, a lot of people may not know him because he played in a bad market in Tennessee with the Titans, but he's a former University of Maryland Terp. That's Chig Okonkwo. I think he's a up and coming tight end. Just needs to be put in the right system and with the right quarterback. Very athletic, a yak guy, and that's something that Washington has been lacking for a very long time. I can't really remember the last time Washington had a yak tight end outside of Jordan Reed. So that's the one that I would like to bring back. Now, one of the major topics that we've been discussing for a while is Brandon Ayuk. The new league year will determine what Brandon Ayuk decides to do. So he's not free yet, but the new league year, he will definitely be a free agent, and I think the writing is on the wall for that too. Now, defensively, Devin Lloyd. I would love for Washington to be able to pair Devin Lloyd alongside Bobby Wagner, someone that can play the pass, also can play the run game, is extremely well at, reading coverages and stuff like that. Him and Bobby attended the same college, Utah, being linebackers. So I think that's a unique connection right there. Kwity Paye, someone that can be versatile on the defensive front, get after the quarterback and be able to make some plays. I don't think he necessarily was in the right situation with Indianapolis Colts, but someone that could be a difference maker. Now, two other fellow Africans, Boy Mafe and Odafe Owe.
You had an African list.
Hey, man.
When we talk about themes, that was his theme, bro.
It just so happened to work out that way. Us Africans, we're freaks. You feel me? Like we're athletic freaks. I mean,
I'm about to say qualify that, bro.
I'm saying like look at Nick Imamori. Like, yeah, we doing our thing. We had a touchdown to Wusu. He had a little pick six. But yeah, back to the list, man. Boy Mafe and Odafe Owe are young pass rushers that can get after the quarterback. I think that with the right opportunity, they could truly reach their full potential. Odafe Owe has always had big time potential coming out of Penn State. He has size that you really can't teach and speed. I think he's like 6'5", 260 some pounds, runs a 4.5. Boy Mafe, he's quick off the ball, great bend. I would love for Washington to add that. I think one of the most important parts of the defense that needs to be addressed is having a rotation of pass rushers. And then at cornerback, man, you can't teach size once again. Hey, I don't know who Solo must
Thank you,
be.
bro. I only got 2 minutes left for my.
Okay, so yeah, Tariq Woolen, man, 6'4" cornerback that could run. I think that he'd be a perfect fit within this scheme. He can press at the line of scrimmage. And yeah, that's how I see my list, man. Hopefully at least 80% of this list gets done.
All right. Chad, I will always welcome y'all to discuss that in the actual comments, man. We'll definitely make sure we keep that discussion alive. I'll bring up mine as we wait for Ben to jump on. We should be expecting him within the next few minutes. I'll try to be quick. I'll just start with my theme and go from there. Because I won't be able to get through all the players. So let me see if mine's just showing. Is mine showing? Okay. Probably got to zoom in a little bit.
Oh, I think on my list I said Tyrod Taylor as backup quarterback.
I was wondering when he was on your list.
Yeah.
I remember what happened to that, but Tyrod Taylor as number 2 quarterback. Fuck Marcus Mariota.
So for me, my theme was just what's the word? Just football, like high football IQ. People with like an established mindset, like know how to play their position, right? And has a role, right? So let's start with the re-signing. Laramie Tunsil, of course, got to extend him. Chris Rodriguez, I'm bringing him back. Treylon Burks, I'm bringing him back. Jake Martin, I'm bringing him back. I'm familiar with Chris Paul, right? But I'm in a situation where I look at Chris Paul and I'm like, yo, I'm sure he'll test the market. That's what I predicted. And lo and behold, that's just something that's actually going to happen. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hence, as we go to free agency, James Daniels comes into play. Offensive guard. He plays center, left guard, right guard. He was recently with Miami. The only issue is him. His last 2 years is injuries, but when he's healthy, he's one of the better offensive guards in the NFL. So for Washington, they got to be very smart about if they did make an interior offensive line move, if they moved on from Chris Paul or Chris Paul let go, like, do they want to bring in competition or a verified starter? So that's kind of the dynamic with James Daniels. Rashad Wright, Kenneth Gainwell, those are role players. This was before we knew about K9. This is before we knew about Breece Hall. That's why I didn't have them on the list. K9, I would put over both of them, but at the same time, Rashad White and Kenneth Gainwell, those are third down backs they can tote if they need to. So I wouldn't shy away from that at all. I'm gonna do a couple more because I'm out of time on my side. So I hope you see the list. Everybody that's viewing, if you're watching, just go to the YouTube.
You don't see the tomatoes hitting the screen? Tomatoes.
Oh, hey, first off, don't try and sabotage my list because everybody said something about yours.
Man, I don't care about
that. You can explain more at the end too.
Hey, Dre, do you know I didn't say a word when he was on? We talked in the chat. I ain't say a word. AJ trying to sabotage my list.
He want to bring you down with him.
Yeah, he trying to throw me under the bus. I'm gonna go one more player. We'll get Ben on, man. I'll start with Wan'Dale Robinson. He already talked about Chig. I think AJ and I and even Dre is on the same page with Chig. But Wan'Dale Robinson, I think one thing that people got to think about. I know we want the vertical threat. I know we want like a bigger body than what we'd imagine. Compared to Wan'Dale, right? And I agree. I think Washington can still get that. I also think there's other options in free agency to this point. But I also think if you know about Wan'Dale Robinson, like he's familiar with the NFC East, he understands like Washington's offense just as much as he understands the rest of the offense is in it. I mean, the rest of the defenses in the NFC East. What's more convenient than him coming to Washington with a quarterback that's as dynamic as Jaden Daniels, but also in an offense that's like he can be utilized just as much as he was in New York in the backfield, in the slot, out wide if he needs to. But he's also a volume guy who has really good hands at his size. And I think he can work several different layers or several different levels of the field. So Wan'Dale is not the prize free agent, but he is a receiver who can really help solidify that receiving core. So again, I wouldn't stop it, Wan'Dale, but he's definitely a piece that you can add and be okay with that, or feel good about that moving forward. Sorry, y'all, it's it for me. Let's go ahead and get the good man Ben Standig on. For those who are unfamiliar with Ben Standig is formerly of The Athletic and several other outlets, but now does the Washington thing himself, man. The last man standing podcast, and was standing room only at one point. But Ben, appreciate you joining us, boss man. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited for free agency because I'm so sick and tired of doing mock draft where I don't know what to do because I have 300 needs. So at least at free agency, we'll narrow some of that down, and that'll help with the mock draft.
Well, Ben set the world on fire yesterday, didn't he, with his list? From what I saw on Twitter, everyone took Ben's words like it was Adam Peters himself that went out and already shopped.
Well, help me out then, Ben, because I've been locked. Look, my supervisor, y'all, like, bruh, I can't even breathe at work. So please help me out, Ben. Like, what was some of the areas or positions of need that had the Twitter crowd in a frenzy? Because I'm not even familiar.
Oh, I don't even know what the Twitter crowd was talking about either. I had my sort of like combine notebook dump kind of deal. And, it was a lot about the draft and a lot about free agency. And look, it's hard to get a read on this organization. And, when I do the mock drafts, one of my favorite articles is doing like a mock draft 6 different ways, like choose your own adventure, right? That's how it feels with free agency. Because if I tell you that they go out and sign, one of the receivers you mentioned, pick the one you want, Juwan Jennings, Wan'Dale Robinson, whomever. They sign that guy. They sign Jamel Dean, a cornerback. They sign Boye Mafe, a defensive end. Cool. But then what if they go out and get, instead of that, they get Tyler Algier, they get Isaiah Likely, and they get Trey Hendrickson. They can go in so many different directions that it completely changes everything. So it's almost hard to know what to make of anything. And from what I've heard, like, I don't know if there's a position I haven't heard that them looking at, which of course is reasonable. But when they have so many needs, it is really hard to pinpoint like what's going to happen here.
So yeah, Ben, I was gonna ask because I understand how the combine works and how much chatter and gossiping takes place at these dinners and just in general in passing. Do you have a feel of how active they're going to be in free agency? And then on top of that, I would also ask you, how caught off guard were you by the release of Biotish? And did you hear any rumblings of maybe going after the top guy that's on the market, like a Tyler Linderbaum down the street in Baltimore? That's where I want to really get things asked on that front.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the signs are pointing to them being extremely active in free agency. I mean, for one, they only have 2 picks in the top 100. So even if they trade down from 7, they're not going to get a huge boatload. They'd have to trade some players for that to happen. That would create other issues. So they're going to spend money. The question is obviously who you getting. How are you getting 3 or 4 big names, spending that money, or are you broadening it out? Because we know it's not just a starting lineup. The issue last year was the injuries showed that they had no depth. They've got to fix that too. As far as Biotish, yeah, I mean, it was a little off guard. I don't think he had his best year last year, and I never look at cuts post June 1. Every time you look at a post June 1 cut, it's always more money in the future, and I'm always like, well, they want the money now. So if they're going to take the $8 million for Biotish down the line for the cap space, cool. But what does that mean now? I don't think they're going to go get a Linderbaum. I think that seems a bit much, but they have to get somebody at center. I mean, they could go with Alec Grady, but at minimum will have to bring in competition. So I don't know what they're doing at that spot, but I would be surprised if they go all in on a center.
Just to the room real quick, because before we started the show, Tyler Biada's first link now being released was Chicago Bears, and Washington's supposed to be running a similar system to Ben Johnson. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still haven't looked deep into the center market, but I don't think it's like a particularly deep group. So, Tyler Biotish may very well be a top 3 or 4 center on the market, and if you need one, you need one. I mean, that's all there kind of is to it. And obviously, what they did last year, the Bears, they built up their offense around Caleb Williams, and I don't have an issue with that. I think Washington should probably lean into that. At least this is the position I'm starting to take, that I think they should probably spend more on offense than defense. We understand defense is terrible. You're really going to get the defense up to be at a reasonable level by next year? It seems unlikely. I mean, but can you build the offense up where it's top 10 again? I think that seems more likely. And if you do that, then you can outscore people, blah, blah, blah. You may not win the Super Bowl, but you're at least going to have a better chance to get back into the mix. But we'll see what they do on that front. But all of a sudden the offensive line is a little bit more questionable than it was a minute ago, but you still like 3 of the 5 pieces they have.
Now, Ben, I want to stay on the offensive line here. I got 2 questions here on the offensive line. First, I want to kind of gauge Chris Paul. Now, it looks like he's likely to hit free agency next week. Do you see a chance of him coming back, or are they kind of viewing Brandon Coleman maybe stepping into that left guard and maybe they think he's ready? And second, where are we with Laramie Tunsil? Do you see an extension happening anytime soon, or will this kind of drag out?
Yeah, I mean, you never say never, but I would be surprised if Chris Paul comes back at this point. It's not even a matter of him. It's a matter of you already gave Sam Cosmi a lot of money at guard. They're gonna pay Tunsil. I don't know if it's gonna get done the next few days, but ideally it would. But I think it's gonna get done. And then you have Josh Connerly. From an investment standpoint, you spent a first-round pick on him. I'm not saying you can't spend more money on offensive line, but it probably to me has got to be a center, and then you let Brandon Coleman play guard. So I think Chris Paul's gone, and kudos to him. To go from where he was to be able to now maybe get 10, 12, 13 million annual salary. That's pretty impressive, but I don't think Washington can justify keeping him. And again, unless you just don't think Brandon Coleman has a chance, you have a guy who's more athletic, bigger upside, and hopefully that he learned lessons. He looked better at tackle last year when he came in, when Tunsil was out. than he had at guard earlier in the year. So hopefully whatever lessons were learned there, you'll carry over. But I think they have a chance to be still pretty good on the offensive line at left guard with Coleman. I just don't think Chris Paul's coming back.
From an edge perspective in free agency, Jonathan Gennard, the Vikings are open to trading him. I understand he has a tricky contract situation from their perspective. So, who knows how that works out in terms of them releasing him or actually getting some type of compensation for him. Hendrickson is available. He's set to hit the market. And then there's a rumor. I don't know if it's verified. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Max Crosby, there's some things circling around about him. Let's kind of see where you're at in terms of trade market for Washington this offseason. Percentage that they'll be involved in any type of trades given the status of their draft picks.
I don't see how they trade any picks. I mean, if you trade a 7th round pick for something, that's fine. But in terms of like what it would cost to get a Max Crosby or somebody, I don't see how they can possibly do it. If you tell me they're trading players, okay, well then maybe that's a different conversation. But in terms of picks, I just don't think that's a reasonable. Now, the only thing I would say is if you do that, then you better go all in and just get as many guys who can play right now. Age aside, it doesn't matter. Be the over the hill gang of George Allen called the team back in the day when he just went all old guys and traded every pick away. Then be that team. But since I don't think they want to do that, I don't think you can trade anything for anybody, which is a bad position to be in. But what can you do? I was good with the Tunsil trade last year. There's obviously one of the trades he said Peters made that didn't quite exactly work out the way anybody hoped, and that's the one that's really kind of holding them back right now.
Go ahead, AJ. Well, let me just ask my follow-up then right quick. So if you had to name, if there was players up for trade, not to say that there's anybody in particular or 100% or anything that like we're just shooting the shit, Ben. Who do you think could be offered in player trades on Washington's? And I feel like a lot of people don't think that Washington has any trade value from a player perspective.
They don't. The one thing they have is Terry McLaurin. Now, I'm not saying they should trade him.
Yeah.
But I am saying, okay, we saw last year went the way that it went in terms of the contract. Realistically, what does he have left here in terms of on the current deal? Like, I think after this year, he potentially is out. I don't know that what's going to happen at that point. He'll be 2 years older from when he signed this last deal. So again, I'm not saying to do this. I'm not saying there's anybody discussing this. But if you're going to trade a player, I think it's maybe you go down that route and you plan on drafting. You draft Carnell Tate at 7 or something, and you sign Romeo Dobbs and go that way. But and at least Terry would give you back. Like, I don't know if you can get Terry for Max Crosby, but you know what I mean. Like that at least makes it maybe you don't have to throw in as much or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, you guys, can't think of anybody else. I mean, they're not trading any of the guys they just drafted. So I don't even know. I mean, Laramie Tunsil. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you're doing that. So, but it would have to be something like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're thinking the same way that I'm thinking. With Washington picking 7th overall in the draft, I feel like they're in a win-win situation. There's going to be a guy there. Now, if it works out or not, that's to be determined. But do you look at the draft and where they're slotted currently with, the names that are being thrown out there from a Sonny Styles to Arvell Reese, Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, David Bailey, Ruben Bain? How do you feel about their seeding within this, early stage of the draft as far as like players that could go in the top 7?
Yeah, you either just named 5 or 6 guys if you throw Carnell Tate in just to round it up. Like, you're getting one of those guys no matter what. Like, you're guaranteed to get one of the 3 edge guys, Downs, Styles, or Tate, right? So if you're cool with all those guys, then they're in a pretty good space. I mean, you can debate. Clearly, they need edge more than they need anything else, but as we've seen with this draft, Styles and Downs and Love maybe are the 3 best players in the draft, position aside. So, they're in a good position in that regard that they should get help. And this is also what makes free agency so interesting.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a world where they could get Jeremiah Love, then do you go a little bit lighter in running back, like maybe a Rashard White as opposed to a bigger name that's going to cost more money? Do you, if Carnell Tate's the possibility, do you maybe dial it back? Don't go for one of the Jawan Jennings or one of the bigger name receivers out there and go for somebody who's more in that De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus level that we saw from a couple years ago. Do something like that. That's defensive ends is irrelevant. You can draft, you can sign 5 defensive ends and still draft one. That's fine. But the other positions, you wonder if that maybe tips their hand a little bit in terms of what they're hoping to do in the draft. But yes, in general, they're in a pretty good spot. It'll be interesting to see who's there, because honestly, right now, even if you said who's the number 2 pick, I don't know. And, you know, if you don't know who the second pick is, it's hard to know who the 7th pick is.
Ben, real quick. Let's role play real quick. Let's say at number 7, they're up to pick, and Jeremiah Love is available, Caleb Downs is available, and Sonny Styles is available. Who are you picking?
I mean, if that's the way the board breaks, I mean, I would probably go Styles. I'm making the case that, again, if they want to compete for playoffs next year, they probably need to go more offense than defense. So Jeremiah Love would be the better fit in that scenario. But the defense has got to get somebody who the other team looks at and says, oh, crap, where's that guy? Yeah, they don't have anything like that. So
does that mean that defense wins championships more than offense? Would you rather have the guy they fear offensively more than the defensive guy?
Well, they have the guy they fear offensively already, right?
Jaden's one, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, this is the thing, and this is, I think, a really important question, and that is, we know they came in talking big picture, want to be sustainable winners, build through the draft, and they clearly have not really built through the draft to the degree that they were talking. So do they look at this year and say, okay, we're staying that course, we're going to build through the draft, or are they saying, hey, last year was so bad, we better get more aggressive this year, because if we have another down year, who knows who's back? And I think that's one of the questions that the league has right now. So that's why if they're a little bit more focused on this year than the bigger picture, then I think you go more offense. If they think that with Josh Harris they have time still more than just this year, then you go whatever you think is the best available across the board and go that route and maybe build up the defense a bit more. But, you know, I mean, I'll just say this, like, I get the defense talk, of course. Mahomes, when he came in the league, the Chiefs built up that offense, and they were scoring 40, 50 points a game. The defense was giving up 30, 40 points a game. I get that, but the offense was amazing, and that allowed Mahomes to become Mahomes. Jaden has had very minimal help around him for 2 years. Last year, obviously, he was hurt, but, like, we saw how the receiver room was. You know, he last year, I mean, you know, the running backs, you know, the 7th round pick became the guy. Like, if that doesn't hit, they don't have much of a run game. Who knows what's going to happen at tight end? We have one receiver. So they really, I think, need to pick up the offense. Jaden can carry this team, but not yet. He's coming off a nothing year, right? I mean, he needs to, like, build him up, help him out. And that just feels like, to me, is going to be a much bigger rate of return than just drafting it. They're signing and drafting a couple guys on defense when they have so many holes over there.
And Ben, for me, where's the team with Quan Martin, or do you have a sense where they are with Quan Martin? And I say that because obviously he had big expectations coming into the year. Dan Quinn would kind of unsolicited come out and praise him and say he was the guy he expected to have a big leap, to the point where by the end of the season, he's getting benched against the Cowboys, and you're kind of acknowledging that he hasn't been the player you expected him to be. But then you see a Durante Jones comes in, and he's kind of mentioning Quan Martin voluntarily, like, that's a guy we scouted in Minnesota and Illinois, and he could play nickel, he could do this. Is he a big part of the plans, do you think, going into this season for the defense?
Remind me of this, because you guys are younger and have way better memories than I do. Didn't he talk about Durante Jones, like, talk about, like, the young players on, like, they were younger on defense or something? Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah, he mentioned that, and then he touched on like Cam Madrano,
Right.
Tyler Owens, and then it led into Quan Martin and stuff.
Right. So I mean, look, it's important to listen to what they say and try to interpret what they're saying. That's what I do. But when the new guy comes in and starts saying things like they're younger on defense, I'm like, I don't know. I think he's just naming names. So I don't. In this case, I didn't get too worked up. That said, I really think that Quan Martin is super interesting. I think some people think he's been playing out of position the last couple of years, that he should be more of a nickel than a free safety, that he's just built for that more. And in the world we're looking at right now, is it conceivable you put Quan at nickel, you put Sanders still on the outside, you draft Caleb Downs, and then you spend money on some pass rushers? That doesn't seem like a huge ask for this defense to maybe get as good as possible. So I think that Quan Martin, I just wonder if he's been playing out of position. I mean, he got benched at the end of the year, obviously. That's not a great sign when you have Dan Quinn still here, a defensive-minded coach. But I'd like to believe there's still something there. He has a lot of the physical tools, but I don't think he's a free safety. I just think he's the guy who needs to be closer to the line of scrimmage. And since they're a little bit light at corner, maybe going three safeties, Harris, Martin, and Caleb Downs. And this is also a good draft for safety, so even if they don't get Downs, they can get somebody else later. I think that, to me, would be a pretty interesting way to go.
Well, Ben, and kind of the follow-up for me, in that scenario, if you do move Quan to a nickel, you still have Trey Amos, and then you have a Mikey. Do you still kind of go and invest in corner, which we've kind of heard they might be doing that in free agency?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you have to. I mean, at a minimum, you have to get depth, right? So re-sign Jonathan Jones, sign somebody else if you want to draft a guy. All those things, absolutely. It's just a matter of, if you have the first round pick and like 4 salary slots you're going to put some real money into, is one of them corner, or do you go down this path? I mean, look, we still don't know what Mikey's best at. Physically, you think he's best in the slot. Last year, that did not work out for him in the slot. He seemed to be oddly better on the outside. And I think, in Dan Quinn's defense, you needed to have these sort of bigger corners, because he wants to press. I don't think with Durante Jones, I don't think it's going to be that way as much, or maybe a little bit more zone. And I think that way Sanders still can, play, be a little more effective. So how they view Sanders still, I think, goes a long way towards viewing this. If he's a slot guy in their mind, then what I just said about Quan Martin is not relevant as much. Either way, yeah, they got to go get a corner. I think it's just a couple corners. It's just a matter of, are you going top towards the top of the market, or are you getting more depth guys because you like Amos, you like Sanders still, but you just need a few other pieces.
So for me, this is my last question, Ben. I appreciate your time, boss man.
Sure.
If you had to put yourself in Adam Peters' shoes, what is your biggest concern / priority of this offseason? Doesn't have to necessarily be a position. It could be an item. It can be a position group. It could be a player. But if you had to put yourself in his shoes, what is that concern / biggest priority for this team?
Can I put myself in his wallet? Because I'm pretty sure he's got a.
Hey, man, break the bank if you need to.
I'll just go at a really base level. They've got to get speed. I mean, they were just so slow on both sides of the ball last year. I think, again, people lamented like losing out on De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus. Those guys, no disrespect to them, are somewhat dime a dozen. What they didn't have was anybody who could run fast. I know they have Jalen Lane, but he's not an outside receiver. They don't. That's not that complicated. De'Ami Brown is not exactly a killer, but he was really good because Jaden Daniels could get the ball. He could get deep. Defensively, I mean, we saw it over and over again. Like, other than the few times that Jordan McGee would cut it loose, I mean, they just did not look fast anywhere. And of course, they were the oldest team in the league last year by a lot, and that's going to sort of go hand in hand. So, to me, like at the combine, for example, I would have told my scouts, whoever the top 5 fastest guys at each position, max out on their bios for these guys, because we've got to bring in people who can make plays. I mean, talent is tough sometimes, but speed makes up for a lot. And, they've got to do that. So, yes, we all understand the positions. pretty much everything except quarterback and offensive tackle they could use. But they have got to get faster. If they don't get faster, I don't see how they're going to get that much better.
Oh, I wish I could answer one last question.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Is this roster in a better place from before Adam Peters took the job to what it is now, aside from excluding Jaden Daniels?
I feel like I'm being like overly negative, right? We should be like positive.
No. We just want you to be as transparent as possible.
You gotta be honest.
Isn't the offensive line better? That's better.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably point to a few things and say it's a little bit better. I guess I would say I don't know that it is better. Maybe it's not worse. I don't know that it's better yet. I mean, that 2024 draft class, other than Jaden, has been disappointing, right? I mean, it's not necessarily all their fault. Like, Johnny Newton's been blocked by a couple guys, and Ben Standig was blocked for the most part of his 2 years. And, you know, Sanders still maybe has had to play out of position more because of injuries and you know, so on. But it's hard to say that they're better. And I honestly, here's the scary part of this offseason. And I'll give you just a little bit of like, not news, but a little bit of like what I'm hearing. And that is, if you look at the coaching staff as an example, was their plan David Blau? Was their plan Durante Jones? Was their plan Darnell Stapleton? Was their plan David Ray for all these guys who've never done the jobs they have to be doing them simultaneously? I'm going to bet no. But they had to pivot because they weren't getting some of the bigger names I think they wanted. And why is that? Because I think the worry in the league is that this could be a one and done year. If they don't have a better year, then who wants to latch on to something that's not going to necessarily, last? And so if you're a player and you're looking to sign up like a 3-year deal, you're like, cool. I see what they're doing on Durante Jones. It's Brian Flores type deal. I think I can work in that. Or your offense, okay, David Blau, maybe he's going to go more to that Ben Johnson thing that works for me. If they're all fired after this year and you just signed a 3-year deal and now somebody else comes in and it's different, are you happy with that? Maybe you're cool if this money is money, but I think that's a concern. So I'm not saying they won't get players. I'm not saying that at all, but like they may have to overpay for some guys, and maybe they're not going to get some of the guys they want because the coaching staff, again, I have no idea how Blau or Durante Jones will do, but I would bet this was not the plan. But they had to pivot because they weren't getting a certain level of they weren't getting kind of feedback I think they were hoping for, and that may translate to free agency. So to the original question, I don't think they're any better, except for the fact that 5 changes everything, right? As long as he's on the field, you feel like you have a chance, and that's not something that they had for the last 20 years. So that, in that regard, yeah. But overall, I don't know.
Hey, Ben, I appreciate you once again for giving us some of your time today. Ahead of free agency is perfect timing, man. So we'll figure out everything that's going on as the next few days start to unravel. I want to give you the floor, man, just to plug anything and everything that you got going on. We mentioned last man standing, but at the same time, floor is yours, boss man. Let everybody know where they can hear from you, see your work, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah, Last Man Standing is both the name of my podcast and my Substack, lastmanstandig.substack.com. That's where my written work is. As I said, I had a big notebook dump. That sounds terrible. I had a really impressive notebook. No dump in there. I had an impressive notebook about everything I heard at the combine, the draft and free agency and all that. I'll have a mock draft coming out probably tomorrow morning. And then, I'm just going to keep going here for agency. I love the offseason. I love figuring out how to make a roster better. It'll be really interesting, but I'll be talking about all these things over there. So, yeah, please come join. Would love to have you on board.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ben, appreciate you, boss man. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Appreciate
Stay
you,
safe. And looking forward to talking to you again.
I'm excited for 7 degrees. Is it 7 degrees tomorrow?
Man, it's supposed to be like high 70s for the rest of the week.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what that's like anymore.
Saturday, but it is sunny on Saturday. So we may need to do that little brunch.
I'll take it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to work outside tomorrow. I'm taking my laptop. I'll sit under a tree and just hang out. Yeah. So thanks, guys.
You earned it, buddy. All right.
All right, take care, man.
All right, man. There goes Ben Standig. So, fellas, man. I like what he said, though, because I feel like we talked about, I don't remember when we had this conversation, but I feel like we talked about or we raised the question about the coordinator spot. Like, where exactly were they at, the Commanders, in their process with Durante and Blau, right? Like, I think we liked Durante if we connected the dots. Like, they had the conversation with Flores, and maybe Flores flew Jones in, and that would make sense. That's plausible. Yeah. But Blau was kind of the bigger question. It's like, I'm saying,
yeah,
first timer.
We talked about it with John Keim, and I think, man, yes. Where it really, for me, if I was in Adam Peters' shoes, this might be my last opportunity to be a GM. I gotta go all in. I think too many times when we think about trading for players, we focus on solely this year's picks. But who gives a fuck if I use next year's picks? And that shit don't work out, I ain't got to deal with the repercussions of it. Like, I'm trying to keep my job. You feel me? So that's where it's like certain things could become intriguing, whether you think about a Grenard, or which I don't really like that because you got to trade and give him a new contract. But you look at Crosby.
That's the thing.
Yeah, he's probably going to get released because, I mean, a lot of us forget that they drafted Dallas Turner in like the mid-20s a couple of years ago to, go alongside Grenard. But, Van Ginkel has done his thing. But I'm like, if I'm Adam Peters, man, I got to be hella aggressive because this is possibly me and Dan Quinn's last shot. We both gonna go down together. One ain't gonna stay around, and the other one gets to continue the journey. So it's like, why wouldn't you be hella aggressive if you got the approval from the owner?
I don't think Adam Peters is necessarily on the hot seat. I think GMs get a little bit more leeway than coaches do. Now, Dan Quinn probably is on the hot seat. Like, he probably does have a make or break season, but I do think Adam Peters may have a little bit more longer of a leash. And also, we just don't know how Josh Harris operates. Like, we don't know what his mindset is. We would have probably had a better idea if Dan Snyder was here. Like, yeah, maybe he would be on some kind of short leash, but with a Josh Harris, we really haven't seen him from a firing capacity yet. Like, he's still new to us from that standpoint. But with that said, when you go back to the coaches, when you talk about a David Blau, you talk about Durante Jones hirings, to Ben's point, I think Blau, ironically enough, even though we may all kind of feel a little bit more confident about Durante because we kind of have a better idea of what Durante does and who he's worked for. We've seen him in different defenses. But I do think Blau was probably a little bit more planned than Durante was. Like, Blau, to me, he was hired so quickly after you got rid of Cliff. And for me, getting rid of Cliff stated that you had a backup plan in place. Like, you couldn't get rid of a Cliff because Cliff wasn't bad. You just wanted to do something different than what Cliff was doing, to the point where if you're going to move in a different direction than Cliff, you should have a replacement plan in place. And they moved so quickly on Blau, to me, to say that was the replacement all along. Like, they didn't want him to go elsewhere. You hear about how Detroit possibly wanted him, and Dan Campbell even spoke highly of him at the Super Bowl on Radio Row. But then you look at Durante Jones, that was a little bit differently. Like, I don't think the plan was to go inexperienced on a defensive coordinator. We even heard Dan Quinn speak. Dan Quinn and Adam Peters were talking about going more to experience route when you talk about defensive coordinators. Now, that, to Ben's point, probably has some credits. Like, guys probably didn't want to come here. Maybe they thought this was a hot seat situation where they weren't going to have stability, and you had to pivot to a Durante Jones. But even though, like I said, at the end of the day, we probably feel more confidently about Jones because we think we know a little bit more about Durante Jones.
I know we did have it backwards, so I ain't gonna lie to you. When I initially said that, because I thought about it after you explained it, Dre. We knew that Blau was a quote unquote hot commodity, but we can't be foolish in thinking that he wasn't like of course he was interested in McDaniels, like, and he probably had conversations on the idea like where McDaniels was leaning before like he started making his interview rounds. It's like that's probably an influence in itself. But then obviously Durante too, like you got people in mind, and some people just may not be moving, like that Atlanta defensive coordinator, even maybe Greg Schwartz. You don't know his situation. You don't want to wait around for people, things of that nature. So I probably did have it backwards, but go ahead, AJ.
I was just going to say, I don't know if it was mentioned before I got on, but even a quote today from Andrew Wiley's presser, He was speaking on, when you're running this tempo, no huddle offense, you're not really knowing what everybody's roles and responsibilities are. But when you slow it down, you know what everybody's roles are and what they have to do. I think that was very telling as well from a philosophy standpoint. But I think, Blau, once Detroit showed interest in how connected he is with Detroit, he was going to get that job. Once they went ahead and jumped ahead, I think they were already doing certain things. And I think as we continue with this offseason, we'll learn how influential David Blau was day to day with Jaden Daniels working on certain things. Because even Blau mentioned something in his presser, I believe, where like when Jaden got hurt, they started focusing on him working under center. Like why would he be working under center during the season if Cliff doesn't even require that in his offense? You see what I'm saying? So it's like it may have been the unspoken already, but it seems like they were preparing Jaden and Blau to be in unison with each other, OC and QB. But I definitely do feel like Durante was a last minute decision. It was more so Brian Flores not taking the bait and joining forces and him, throwing the alley oop to his guy. And that's what led to the conversation. And like, oh shit, like he really smart as fuck. Like we can learn so much from him. He could probably do so much with the limited pieces that we do have and create this high level of pressure. But yeah, next week is going to be an exciting week for us at Trapper Dive and Commanders fans. Just understanding this legal tampering period, because it'll teach us so much about what they want to do offensively and defensively, and where their mindset is. Maybe that'll help answer some questions. Are they on the hot seat or not? Like depending on who gets certain type of contracts and who they go after as soon as it hits 12:01.
Yeah,
Monday, right?
Monday.
Tampering.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how it's gonna work. Next week I'm gonna
be
in
LA.
You
travel, right?
Yeah, next week I'm gonna be in LA, so I'm gonna be in a whole different time zone.
I'm
so I gotta figure out.
back to Cali.
Well,
Hey, bro, have y'all ever been to LA?
I hate LA. I hate LA with a passion, bro.
Not even that. I just need to know, like, bro, I need to figure out because I'm downtown. Like
you're downtown LA.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out at this point because work travel is sometimes it gets tricky. Like I can find ways to turn up when I'm on work travel. Like it depends. I gotta pick my day, right? But my main spot because I'm on work travel is figuring out good places to eat. So I'm not trying to do too much, but it's also
LA
like it's gonna be
places, bro.
It's going to be a day though where I'm out there acting a fucking fool.
I don't know where you're gonna be acting
some folks. Hey Mo, you got some folks with you out there you can act the fool with, or you gonna be by yourself?
Nah, my code. No, it's me. It's just me. Bro.
Yeah, he gonna be acting a fool by himself because LA ain't one of them cities, bro. Like
it's them
folks be doing house parties and playing with their nose, bro. The club.
All right. Well, what about downtown? Ain't nothing in downtown.
Just a whole bunch of weirdos and homeless people. Like I'll throw you some places to go and eat, but like ain't nothing really happening out there.
Yeah, I knew I was probably gonna have to take some Ubers. I wanted to get some decent food, like the jumps that I be seeing on YouTube and shit.
I'm about to say you can bring your shit with you, like your streaming shit, like to the hotel.
My laptop, yeah, I could bring my laptop. Oh, but that's kind of I got distracted. That's the part of the reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, so like it'll be 4 o'clock there on a Tuesday and it's 7 o'clock. Yeah, you probably ain't doing shit at 4 o'clock.
So Tuesday and Wednesday are my work days. So the only day that I would have available is Monday. It would be Monday or Thursday for us if I can do a recording. It'll be Monday at 4 o'clock because Monday is a travel day and Thursday is a travel day. But I'll get home and
we can go live on Monday because that's when tempering gonna be. Moves already gonna start happening. We don't have to do no long show.
Yeah,
if you flexible, but I know downtown LA got some good internet.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in a decent hotel. So
yeah, you're gonna be straight. Just don't get excited about partying and turning up. That shit ain't happening.
Man, I'm all right. Well, look, at this point, then I just need to post up at a bar, walk a little.
I don't know what the weather is in LA. You know what I'm saying? They got nice little like hotel rooftops, bars.
Find a little show. Yeah, I just need a night. if I get lucky on Monday, then I just need 3 nights with one pull up. I got the hotel for 3 nights, bro. What's up, bro? If I baggage on Monday, it ain't no shows, bro.
Yeah, mall supervisor watching Trap or Dive like, oh, for real? That's what you planning?
Take that per diem back, bro.
If they see me in the hotel with a shorter, they better mind their motherfucking business. I know that. If I show up to work on time, that's all that matters. I swear to God.
All that matters, bro.
That's all that matters.
Just don't spend your per diem on nothing.
Oh yeah. I learned my lesson before. It helps, but when that per diem run out and that bill come back, it'll be like, nigga, you owe this in 2 days. Pay it up. All right. That's scheduled. So we'll be back next week. If you made it this far, we'll try to work out Monday or Thursday of next week. We'll try to shoot for Monday, the beginning of tampering. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So just be on the lookout. We may even do 2 shows next week. Because Monday and Thursday is gonna be a lot of things going on at that point anyway. But appreciate everybody who checked in live. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. The fellas will be back next week. And until next time, man. AJ Drake.
Yes, sir.
Chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch you throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.